any process, anytime we want to create change, we'll always begin in a foundational habit of learning how to be conscious, how to see those habits that we're talking about, whether or not it's the behavioral habits that carry me through my day, whether or not it's the thinking habits. All of our human brain we have a natural desire urge to make sense of life around us. So we're always internally narrating it with our thoughts. We're telling ourselves stories. We're making meaning out of the events happening around us. All of that is aimed to give us a sense of control, a sense of understanding about what is happening. When we learn how to become conscious again, not only of what we're doing, but what are those thoughts? What is the meaning that our mind is creating out of the events? What is the feelings that I'm feeling in my body? We can become conscious of the sensations, the emotions that are living in my body. And until I become conscious, like that blinder course I described earlier, I'm not going to be able to make the new choices that I need to create change, because I like to simplify the process of change into 2 steps that we can repeat over time. The first one is become conscious of what's happening, what's creating the habit that you want to change in the first place, right? Is it behaviors that I'm doing? Is it thoughts in my mind? Is it overwhelming emotions in my body that I don't feel like I can be responsive to? Once I become conscious, I see how I'm stuck, really simplifying step 1. I want to see how I'm stuck, what's creating my stuck points. Me with the belief, of course, that a lot of that is what I've carried with me from childhood. Then I can take the next step, which is making those new choices. Because to change, we have to snap out of that autopilot that's making the habitual choices for us that will run the show. If you don't pay attention to your life, you'll just go about it the same way probably that we did yesterday and the day before. So to create change, we want to be a conscious participant. We want to tune in. What are those habits that aren't serving me? What are the thoughts that aren't serving me? What are the feelings, so I can then make new choices?
Yes, no, that's so beautiful. And I just want to repeat something that you said, which is what I bring up often as a practitioner, just you have to be a conscious participant. You can't just be executing what someone tells you to do, right? And and um and could you actually take a moment to explain to us why that doesn't work? Why just simply executing what someone says to do? Because even though that can serve as a guide, if someone doesn't know this is a guide, they're executing what you're telling them to do as a guide, then there's that next step, right? Of just being a conscious participant. What makes a conscious participant? Is it being committed? Uh, is it the questions that we ask? What kind of discerns us from that?
So we will, let me kind of peel it back to say, we're all reactive in some ways. We all have an autopilot. None of us are conscious 100% of the time. So whether it's your habit to outsource or to ask others, right, to follow the instructions of someone else, what you should do. I just wanted to make that point that we are all technically doing what someone says we should do. Someone, though, is just our autopilot that lives in our head. Though, to speak to the point, as being someone who saw one of my habits was to do just that, to outsource. Just like I did with my friend that day. I'm actually happy I told that story, because just like I did with my friend that day, asking what everyone else thinks I should do, that was a habitual pattern in my life. I never stopped to ask myself about really much of anything before I looked to others. And, in my opinion, that could create, even though if we have well-meaning, well-supportive, even well-knowledgeable other people, what we're sending to our subconscious ourself is that we can't be trusted, that we do need someone else's guidance. And this is separate. Guidance is separate from support. A supportive guide walks next to us on our journey, and that can both be possible. But when I'm saying, oh, I don't matter, Nicole, all that matters is what whoever it is, even if it's an esteemed person, like I was saying, what I'm sending to the being inside of me, a message is that I'm actually not to be trusted. You do need to rely on someone else. And I saw this even as being a professional, a psychologist in the room, right? I've seen a lot of people, and my hesitancy would be to suggest anyone that has ever worked with me in any context to just defer to me. And I see a lot of that, again, for many different reasons, with this idea that we need to just outsource or to believe what someone else says because of the credentials after their name, whatever it might be. And my hope is that whatever supportive professional, wherever it is that you're doing the work, that we can evolve into that more collaborative approach, because each of you listening, all of us have the deeper knowledge of ourselves. I mean,
Yeah.
we're the one who spends the most time with ourselves. We're the one who's going to be responsible for
Yes.
showing up and becoming conscious so we can change
Yeah.
consistently. So to go back to, I think I heard you say something about being consistent, right? The
Mhm.
consistent repetition of new choices creates new habits. That's all going to
Huh?
be on me, regardless of the support I have around me. And of course, I'm a proponent of support.
Mhm.
One of the first things I did when I created the Instagram account was to start to use a hashtag so that people who were resonating, hashtag self healers, can
Yes.
find each
Mhm.
other in community,
Mhm.
because it is very clear to me how important safe communities are, where we can begin to have
Yeah.
language, share our ideas freely, and hear from other people who might not be living the exact same journey,
Mhm.
but again, who could be that emotional support on our journey. So again, we create new habits by becoming conscious, by consistently making new choices. And my goal is that what we're beginning to do in those new choices is factor ourselves in, become
Yeah.
that active participant, tune inward, ask yourself, whoever's listening, what do I want? What do I need? Especially if you're like me, always the person who's worrying about what
Yes.
everyone else wants and
Yes.
needs around you.
I feel like it's built in, particularly if you are a natural caretaker, or yeah, that's part of your journey in this life. And then also, and if you're empathic, these are just sort of it's sort of a natural state of being to always be worried about someone else. And, I thank you again so much for everything that you're saying. It resonates, and it's clear that it resonates so deeply. And I love that reminder that you're telling people, okay, no matter who your practitioner is, don't just do as they say, don't just do as you say, really take it upon yourself to make that conscious commitment and to be consistent.